Viaje comenzó, unidos con gran emoción, con la fuerza en nuestras manos. Aunque ría ya sin razón, no confundas mi convicción. Nunca voy a conformarme. Muy pesada es esta realidad, y aunque sea difícil debemos luchar. Nuestras alas hoy vamos a extender y hacia un nuevo mundo conocer. Las puertas aún cerradas están, aunque es difícil sea avanzar. Tú sabes bien que tu poder toda barrera destruirá. Tus límites hoy superar, gritando fuerte fácil de lograr. Es el poder en tu interior, aún dormido explotará. Dragon Ball Super, se nos amamó Tamage.
Forget the puny explosion of a single Tomahawk missile. Today, the American military dropped the mother of all bombs. Literally, that's its name. The bomb dropped today on an ISIS tunnel complex in Afghanistan is the most powerful non-nuclear explosion ever in warfare. After the bombing, President Trump suggested the weapon's use says a lot about his administration in contrast to the previous one. Watch.
Everybody knows exactly what happened, and what I do is I authorize my military. We have the greatest military in the world, and they've done a job as usual. So we have given them total authorization, and that's what they're doing. And frankly, that's why they've been so successful lately. If you look at what's happened over the last 8 weeks and compare really to what's happened over the last 8 years, you'll see there's a tremendous difference.
So what does it mean to deploy a device of this size, and why now? Michael Pregent is an Afghanistan veteran and a former intelligence officer, and he joins us on the set. Mike, we usually start this show with a debate of sorts, but this story is still unfolding, and we thought it would be useful tonight to find out the facts. First, why now? Why did the U.S. military deploy this today?
Well, thanks for having me. One of the reasons it's been deployed now is because ISIS is starting to use a tunnel complex that Al-Qaeda used back in 2001. They used the same tunnel complex for bin Laden to escape to Pakistan. The Haqqani network, a terrorist organization out of Pakistan, uses it to bring in lethal aid. So you have these organizations like Al-Qaeda, the Haqqani group, the Taliban, and now ISIS using a tunnel complex to kill Americans in the past. And this is on the heels of the recent death of a special forces soldier, sergeant. Yes. So it's an effective weapon. It's the right weapon to use in canyons and cave complexes. It's a massive weapon, and it's really hard to go in there with precision strikes when you have so many caves to actually
Well, give us a sense of the scale of the cave complex you're talking about.
Well, it goes from Tora Bora to the town that was dropped in, and it's just a series of developed caves that haven't been destroyed. In 2001, 2002, we're using thermobaric weapons, basically high explosives, shoot in air, and it would basically kill anybody inside, concuss them.
Yes.
This weapon is used as an area denial weapon. It keeps them from using it. I think what's important about this is ISIS recently started using it.
It keeps the enemy from using the complex because it destroys the complex?
It does destroy the complex. It's released in the air. The concussion will actually hurt a lot of the surface level tunnels. And the deeper tunnels, we don't know. But it will still give pause to ISIS fighters, Haqqani network people, and the Taliban to use this now, especially since it's on the heels of the attack of the Special Forces operators. So 2 to 4 days later, we're dropping the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan against a tunnel complex that ISIS is starting to use.
So it sounds like this, as you just said, this tunnel complex has been there for a while. These things are not built quickly. The president said today this action is a departure from the previous policies under President Obama. Right. It does raise the question, why was this complex allowed to exist for all these years? Well,
there's the spring offensive that always happens in Afghanistan every year, where you expect an uptick in violence. And this tunnel complex is what they use to bring in weapons.
So
and
why
fighters.
Didn't the previous administration drop a similar ordinance on it?
They may have done some hits against it, but I think it was because it's symbolism of this weapon is a bravado weapon. You basically have a mushroom cloud in Afghanistan. I think the past administration was more focused on pushing the fight to the Afghans. But I'll tell you, the Afghan military on the ground, working with our special operators, is really happy they have this weapon in their arsenal now.
Give us a sense of what this bomb does.
Well, what it does is it's a single use. It's area denial. So what you've done, you've stop the permissive environment that ISIS has been enjoying in this area.
Right.
The Taliban as well.
But what does it physically do? Like, how large an area does it
1 mile.
change?
1 mile circumference. And it just levels anything on the ground. It rubbles things. So even if the tunnel complexes aren't affected, they're still blocked. The entrances are rubbled in this case. But it also makes it a place where a Taliban fighter, an ISIS fighter, probably doesn't want to go anytime soon. The unclassified number of these bombs that we have is 15. So we still have 14 more to use. We don't know how many more we have, but this is
15 total in the U.S. arsenal?
In the unclassified, unclassified numbers. 15 were made. And this is the first time one has been used. And it's used on the right target. We wouldn't use this on Raqqa or Deir ez-Zor or Mosul. This is to deny enemy use of terrain. And in this area, they were using this cave complex to funnel lethal aid and fighters to kill Americans.
I can see the tactical effect as a strategic matter. Is this an advance in the fight against ISIS?
Well, what it is it's an effective tactical use of ammunition.
Yes.
With second and third order effects being very strategic. It sends a message to Tehran, it sends a message to Pyongyang, it sends a message to Damascus and Moscow. So it is a strategic, it does have a strategic use, and it complements the tactical use of this weapon very well.
What is the message that it sends to those foreign capitals?
That the next 4 years will be different than the last 8, as far as what General Madison, H.R. McMaster, I believe, are very happy with the commander-in-chief that they have. He's delegated those decisions down to commanders on the ground, and he's let experienced officers and generals who know the second and third order effects of using a bomb like this to make these decisions. And I think that sends a message that this military, and it's a message to our Afghan partners, our military, and our adversaries, that this commander-in-chief is going to listen to his smart generals.
Last question quickly. You don't think we're overstating the significance of this? You think this is a big deal, the use of this today?
Well, I don't want to overstate the significance. I do like that it was used. It's important to stop this. So we've known about this for years. You got to do something about it. You got to negate this terrain.
Right.
You got to keep the enemy from using it. So I think it's significant. It's the right weapon to use, but it has strategic ramifications.
Michael, thank you for that.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.